Ederson Oliveira here. This is another monthly chat, DNN Hero monthly chat. And I have with me the usual suspects, Scott, Joe, and a guest as well. I have Patrick Ryan with us too. So, Scott, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Great. Joe?
I'm doing great, and happy spring.
Happy spring. Yes, of course. And Patrick, welcome.
Thank you. I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Perfect. We're going to be talking more about Patrick in a second, but let's start this conversation today with talking about DNN, talking about DNN9, and I wrote down here, I wrote back here in my board that we should talk about DNN9 adoption, and what sparked this topic was an email from Joe saying that, you know, is DNN9, I'm gonna tell Joe, is DNN9 ready for prime time? And it's a good question. I mean, let me get your views first before I dig into mine. So Scott, what do you think?
Well, we've been, I guess the biggest draw is not so much the DNN9, the platform, but the Evoke content with the liquid content. We talked a bit about this last month, didn't we? And just to confirm, I was in literally right after our last DNN chat, I think it was on a Thursday or something last month, I had a client demo with Will Morganwick, who's demoing Evoke 9, the liquid content stuff. And that's when I got the confirmation that they, I guess, originally were calling it structured content. Now it's liquid content. So that is the branding of it. But that is what several of our clients are getting demos on in conjunction with Bluebolt, since we're a gold partner, and with Will and others at DNN who are really pushing hard on the liquid content. And it is something that I think a few of our client projects are going to be based on. The idea of using liquid content for all the stuff we normally use PackFlash for, a tool like that, where you have content you want to centrally manage in lists, whether it be an image slider, a news, blog, or whatever. And you can define those content types. I mean, even we'll talk about XMod Pro does a lot of this stuff too. Define like a visualizer for it, build out custom views of this stuff, listing and details views. And then having a form builder tool, that's now built in. I'm not sure how much, I don't think any of that's in the Platform 9, really. The Platform 9 is mainly just a revamp of all the admin tools. That's really, so it's hard to say, how would you sell someone on Platform 9? Well, it has a nice revamped set of admin tools. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily what's going to sell something that on it, but the liquid content for sure is getting clients interested.
In a way, Scott, this shift from DNN8 to DNN9, the admin interface revamp, let's say it's not so much. I don't think it's that big of a deal for Evoke, because Evoke interface was already like that, So
yeah, since 7.4 or whatever they called Evoke 8.0, yeah.
So again, the users of the Evoke product, I don't think that they have a big impact there. But I can tell you this: the users of the core platform, it's really a big shift for them. And Joe, as you were the one that sparked the conversation, let me ask you that. What have you seen around? What have you heard around? On the group. Tell us.
Well, I think I confess to you that I really hadn't worked with DNN9 that much. I did a fair amount of playing around with DNN 9.0 back around the time it was released, and what I have been reading mostly on the DNN forums has been stuff that didn't quite make it when the administrative functions were redone. And I think that in terms of a site, that's not a big issue, but it's a really big issue for people who are managing sites or building a new site.
Got it. Got it.
With DN. And so, I mean, my real question, to kind of throw it out there, is are the things that are missing sufficient that I really wouldn't want to try and build a new site or even manage an existing site?
Got it.
With the current version of DNN9. My big adventure this last month was working on a site that probably has a couple of hundred fairly involved pages, and my client wanted to essentially restructure the pages, and that included adding some new sections, moving pages around, and that sort of thing.
Got it. But
from what I've read, that would have been more difficult to do with DNN9 than with DNN8, which is where the site is at.
Got it. I haven't had too much that experience with a site with too many pages on DNN9, but I have had some experience with DNN9. Actually, I have a new site up, Ederson.com, which I decided to start that on DNN9 right away. And I can tell you, I can tell you what I like about DNN9. I can tell you what are my pet peeves with DNN9. One thing though that I want to highlight is that if by any chance anyone out there don't find a feature that used to be on DNN, DNN8, DNN7, and it's not there on DNN9, again, there might be two reasons for it. One of two reasons. One is that they may have removed that feature on purpose, and I guess that if that's important enough, that enough people will talk about that, I'm sure that they will reconsider putting them back. And the second one is that they may have skipped that, they may have forgotten about that, although I doubt that at this point in time, anything that has been forgotten must have been already addressed. And I think there's a post from Chris Hammond that he mentioned about one of those features, and he says that they are putting this back in the next release. So keep that in mind. If there's anything that you think that should be there and it's not, it might have been forgotten or removed, and if enough people talks about that, maybe they'll reconsider and they will put it back. But that's it from me for now. Patrick, what's your view? Have you tried DNN9? What's your opinion there?
I've tried it. I've used it. Actually, I've just recently upgraded a very big website to DNN9, and okay. Let me say this. Every time DNN makes a big change, I kind of throw an internal fit. I'm just, and I don't think it's just DNN. I think that's the nature of the industry that we're in. But anyway, with that said, I do throw a little bit of a fit. So the persona bar, I threw a fit because it just really, I've designed skins, I've designed all kind of things to where I create my own control at the top to move the skin out of the way and lots of different things, and I can't stop scrolling up to the top to try to manage my site, right? But with that said, a lot of the things that I think people think are missing, they're not missing, they're just not currently in the persona bar. And so I find myself navigating directly to host, extensions, admin, user accounts, and all that good stuff. So as a community user, and for my particular site, I don't find that it's hurt me in any way other than me, kind of working against the grain, trying to get used to it. Does that make sense? I'm ready. I like it, and I love the security implementations. I love the direction DNN is going. The persona bar is beautiful when you take certain things into consideration, like, well, you did a chat on DNN prompt, Kelly Ford, and that's a great example of how awesome that interface is. Just to pull it out and have all that room to to work. And so it's going to be a great, I think, platform for developers to integrate their apps into. So I hope it's ready for prime time because I'm using it for prime time, and so far, so good.
If you don't mind me asking, you are using that on a site that you have upgraded, or is that a fresh new DNN9 install?
Upgraded. So this site started at 7.3.2, and I had to, client requested a significant amount of work, and so I went through the lovely upgrade path, and all was successful. I think I went 7.2 to 7.4 something.
So I think the reason why you can go back to the old admin pages, I think it's because it's an upgrade. Because I don't think that with and I might be way wrong here, but I don't think I am, because I think I've tried that on a fresh new DNN9 install. I don't think that those pages are available anymore. You know.
Are they completely gone?
I'm quite sure that if they are not completely gone, I mean, I know one or two pages that are still there because they, for instance, for the file management, for the file manager, they still use the old interface. You know, it's still, that has not been ported to the personal bar yet. But I'm quite sure that the other pages are not available there. I'm very positive about that.
Well, edit all this out of the video because I'm obviously misinformed and I look like
no. You're right. That's the reason. No, that's the reason why I asked if you are coming from an upgraded site or not. Because yes, if you are coming from an upgraded site, I don't think that they are taking away, and you are proving that they are not taking away those tabs, you know, those pages. But if it's a fresh install, I think that they are not there. Again, I might be wrong here. I'll rectify that once I check, but I think I'm right.
Is there any one particular module that would be tied to a page that you can think of off the top of your head?
Yes, it's the because they have not ported this module yet, which is the file, how do they call it? The
digital asset manager or
yes,
file manager.
Correct, the digital asset management. That's a module that they have not converted to the new personal bar, and it still requires a full-blown, you know, regular page to exist there. So that's one.
Okay, I do see. I've got that site pulled up, and I do see that it is 9. This is 902.
Got it.
And I do see the extension. So hopefully it's what you said, or we can recreate those pages and install the extension if needed.
Maybe, who knows? But I'll check a little bit deeper because, again, I have a fresh new DNN9 site. Now, my question in general about DNN9 is, again, I love the speed. I love the new UI. I really like that. I have my pet peeves. I mean, it really bugs me the fact that if you enter into the edit mode, you know, what we used to call edit mode, and if you browse through other pages, it goes back to the view mode. So it bugs me a little bit there. It also bugs me a little bit the fact that the way I work on a website is that I open multiple tabs, you know, multiple tabs in my browser. And for instance, on DNN9, if you have something like the SQL console open in a tab, and if you try to open a second tab for that site, that SQL console will pop up again, you know. So just minor pet peeves. But my question is, in general, do you guys think that the new UI will make or is making, as far as you know, you have experienced, is making people more productive? Because I think it's one of the key aspects of revamping a UI. It's not just to make it more modern, but more modern should assume that what's the real benefit there? Is that making people more productive? So that's my question. Is it making people more productive? Yes or no? What do you guys think? Anybody has any opinion about that?
Yeah, that was really my question, and I think it's clear that the persona bar has the potential of doing that, and once we get past the remembering where that feature lives now part, yeah, and I'm really not talking about that. I mean, I can live with that, but yeah, what I was looking at some things that had to do with disabled pages, and there have always been funky things that happen with disabled pages, like if you're trying to add a module to a page, add a copy of a module to a page, and the module happens to be on a disabled page, or even a child of the disabled page, you can't select it. You have to go back and enable the disabled page. Then you can select all of these things.
So is that addressed on DNN9? I mean,
I don't know. I've seen some other things about disabled pages, and, and those sorts of things. And to go back to something Patrick said, I don't have any problem opening up SQL Management Studio and opening up the tabs table and modifying fields if I have to that way, because the UI to do a certain thing hasn't quite made it over to DNN9 yet. But those kind of things slow down your productivity.
Got it.
Yeah, other things, enhance the productivity. That I really like the fact that the management part doesn't interfere with the page on the screen. So you can bounce back and forth easily. That's nice, and maybe some of the old ways of working where you have multiple things open in different browser windows is because of limitations of the old control panel.
Got it.
I mean, I've always wished that in one browser window I could have something open in view mode, but over in another tab I had it open in edit mode. And so the way you do that is you have some pages open in Chrome and other pages open in Mozilla.
I see.
So you can see it that way.
I get it.
But yeah, I mean, my real question, is I like the direction it's going in. I think it's really nice and useful. And my question was more, how much gnashing of teeth am I going to get into when I try and actually build a real site? Because all of the testing, when you're playing around with something new,
it's different.
Testing is generally not on a real site.
Yes.
And so you don't find the missing things or the nasties until you actually begin to try and do something useful.
Yeah, I see, and that's what I've been trying to do with my own site. So now I just want to finalize this point of whether or not the DNN9 is ready for prime time. With our clients on desktop, which we assist them to do upgrades. Right now, see, before when we used to go to an upgrade, I would say, yeah, let's go to the very latest one. If it's not a major release, let's go to the latest one. Now, I have to tell you, I make available a DNN9 website for our clients. And I say, you know what? Before you decide that you want to jump all the way to DNN9, have a look at this. And I provide them with host level access to the site where they can see the persona bar, they can see how things work, and then they can say, hey, okay, I want to jump to that, or no, you know what? I mean, I really prefer, I would rather, stay, still on the latest of DNN8, and I mean, for one reason or another, not too many people are jumping to the latest, to DNN9 yet, and we are 3 months, away from the initial release. We have 2 minor releases in already, so I know DNN9 is what it is right now, and there might be slightly modifications, changes, but it's stable at this point, So, but still, I don't see too many people, at least not in our client base, too many people jumping to that. I would love to hear some stats from a company like Manage.com, and I'll send an email to JR and see if that can be done. But I would love to see. Okay, can you provide us a chart that says, hey, this is the number of DNN9, of DNN8, of DNN7, of DNN6 that you guys have? Because at the end of the day, Manage.com is still the largest hosting company for DNN DNN websites. And again, I'm not marketing them here. I know that for a fact based on some other tools that I use, you know. So I'd love to hear some statistics about that. I'll buzz JR and see if we could potentially get something like that. Any final words on DNN9, whether or not it's ready for prime time, and any final words on that, or can I just move on?
Yeah. Go ahead, Patrick. No, you're the new guy.
Hey, so you cut me off in the next future visit. I apologize. The only thing I was going to say, if I really, if I step outside of the box and look in, I think DNN9 is going to be much more attractive to new market. Right? It's just, I think we've become so used to things a certain way that it's working against us right now, like Joe was talking about. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be incredibly great in so many ways. So I think it's stable. I'm going to use it, and I don't always rely on a lot of the core features. I typically try to roll my own stuff, so I may not have run into things that other people are running into. So, but I'm going to use it, and like you said, it is what it is. It's out. It's going forward. So you can only sit on the back seat with 8 for so long. You're going to need to, do something eventually.
Right,
yeah,
Scott?
and I think possibly one of the things that you're seeing with people not immediately jumping is that all of the major changes are on the back of the administrative side of things. So, aside from better performance, stability, security issues, those are important things that are visible to the user of the site. But the things that we worry about are stuff that we do as administrators that people aren't necessarily going to see.
Got it.
And I have several sites for clients that I keep telling them, let's wait for the next upgrade before we look seriously at going to 9. And so, I think the real secret agenda that I had in asking that question was, when do I tell them it's time to do the upgrade to 9? And I think for me, it's 9.1 that should be dropping soon.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Scott, you were about to say something before Patrick.
Yeah, I'll just make it real quick because I know we have to move on, but it's kind of going in line with what he said. Actually, he said it perfectly. We kind of know how to do things, and we've been doing it for a long time. I had an Episerver demo, or I was sitting in on an Episerver demo. You guys are familiar with Episerver? It's another enterprise CMS that's out there. But you go back to what how productive you are as a content editor, and seeing how they do it, where you could quickly grab fully styled content snippets, have kind of those visualizers like DNN's talking about, plugging them in, quickly going to check what does it look like on a mobile preview, and going back and forth, setting your SEO properties, click. Those are the type of things where if you compare that to DNN7, where you got edit, wait, place my content in, go back, preview it, see if it looks good, go to page settings to get my SEO stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, this is where we kind of need to look outside and see what's best practice, what the industry's doing. And I think DNN9, that's why they're moving forward with that. So as far as productivity, it's how quickly can you get fully styled content in there and preview it, see what it looks like on mobile, and get the page up and running. I mean, that's where it comes down to for content editing.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, again, very relevant to what you guys all said. It's really about us using a platform for so long that we have to get used to a new way of doing things. That's really it. Perfect. Okay, Patrick, the new guy around, the guest. So let's talk a little bit about you. This is not
Okay.
supposed to be an interview, but again, we have to dig a little bit deeper. I really want to talk about Discover XMod Pro, but before we get to that, give 1 minute 30 seconds of how you got involved with DNN for the first time.
It's an interesting story. I used to build years ago. I built websites with this is recorded. Okay, all right. Homestead. Does that ring a bell?
I remember that.
Okay, so everything was absolute position. I think you just drag and drop, move things around. I don't even think cell phones existed, or maybe they did. I don't know, but I was a program coordinator at a ministry, and one of the students came in who was an IT guy, and he said, "Hey." I was basically building a website for the ministry. He said, "Hey, check this out. We had some donated computers in the basement." And his name's David. If I ever see him again, I'm going to point him to this episode. He'll appreciate this because he has no idea who he was. But anyway, so he created a local install of DNN, whatever version was out in like 2004. What was that? Something way back.
3-ish, maybe?
Yep.
Yeah, something way back. And I remember we were trying to get it pushed over to a remote site and having a lot of difficulties with it. But I was like, wow, I can just add stuff to a page, and I don't even know what I'm doing, but I look like I know what I'm doing. And so I just worked on this one site, and I was building some Flash and some other things. And I had the HTML text module or whatever it was called at the time, probably the same thing, all over the place. And it was just spent hours on it. It looked great. So, I went to some other people and they were like, "Hey, that's great. Can you build a website for us?" And I became this hotshot web guy who really didn't know what the heck he was doing. And I know a lot of people can relate to this, because I've talked to so many people about this. So I started a company, Reflect Media Group, and in Paducah, Kentucky, and I started doing websites for clients. And I lived, I lived on snow covered, and that was my place to go. So
which by the way, just so you guys know, snowcover.com is for sale for $10,000.
Are you selling it?
No, I'm not, but I've checked. Someone is selling that domain for $10,000.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Anyway, Patrick, sorry for interrupting. I just didn't want to miss the opportunity. So go ahead, Patrick.
No, that's quite all right. So I think I started like a lot of people start. You've got your IT type people that get into it for development, and that pushes into a development team, and they start using it as a CMS. I discovered it as a guy that didn't know what he was really doing. I was a graphic designer and some things, and I could install a module and go, "Oh, cool, hey, look, I can build you a contact form. I can build you a directory. I can build you, whatever you want, as long as it, they didn't know this, but as long as it lived on the store somewhere where I could buy it and install it, right?"
Got it. And I guess that's where XMod came to your aid, correct? You wanted to have more, I guess, control, flexibility, and XMod came about?
Yeah. So that's what it leads into. And now let me say this, so it's not misconstrued. I love the development community. I love the module development community. I think it's an absolute fantastic thing. However, what I personally learned in my experience is you can get yourself into a tremendous amount of trouble if you're relying on multiple third-party vendors. So you're basically piecing together a site like Legos. And so this client will come along and say, "Hey, Patrick, can you add this feature? Can you do that?" And I would go back to the module developer and see, what they can add. And sometimes they just weren't there anymore, right? So whether personal or health, or they decided they didn't want to build it anymore, just disappeared. And here I was with a client who looks at me as a professional, expecting a professional results. And I didn't know what I was doing. So what happened was and along with this, I would place the HTML module on the page, and I'd go, "Man, I wish I could do this," or "I wish I could do that." And I would just get on Google and I would search, and I started studying JavaScript, and I was learning how to do lots of cool things. I was never happy with leaving things just as they were.
Got it.
I wanted to always do better and always learn more. And I'd get frustrated with even the HTML module changing my content. And I wanted real control. So before I get into XMod Pro, I did do the searches, but I think we can all be, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think most people would agree that for a long time, it was very difficult to find really good content on module development. And it's not so big, thanks to what you guys are doing and thanks to what the community is doing now, that's changed. But a long time ago, it just was not easy unless you were ready to invest some serious cash. So I did do some traditional module development, and I still do. But I purchased, this is funny, I purchased XMod Pro by mistake. And I actually asked Kelly Ford for a refund.
Really?
Yeah, because I wanted a form builder, and I intended to buy, I guess, XMod at the time, but I got XMod Pro, and it initially intimidated me, so I just said, hey, I got the wrong one, can I have a refund? We laugh about that now because we're friends and have worked together a lot. But basically, I got into another predicament where I relied on a developer, and I was like, okay, I've got to transition this thing over, and I need to have control over my code. I have to. I cannot progress. I cannot move forward. I cannot be a professional developer unless I know how to develop. That's,
Got it. So let me ask you this. Are you a coder? Are you a programmer? Because when I read, what the link that you sent, I was not sure if you are tinkering with code or if you are, a hands-on coder. Where do you sit there?
Okay, I'll tell you where I'm at now, and I'll tell you how I basically got there. So I do code. I prefer VB.NET just because that's what I've gotten used to. I can read C#. My last biggest project, I'll put it this way, it involved Web API, Angular. I've done a lot of custom programming, lots of cool stuff. But XMod Pro basically acted as a silent tutor that pushed me to those things. So let me explain that. So I've got I started getting used to using XMod Pro and starting taking content of my existing sites and replacing it with forms and templates with XMod Pro. Now at that point, if you really look kind of behind the scenes with XMod Pro, it's a bunch of controls.
Got it.
And those controls mirror controls that are, it's ASP.NET. So you've got text box, you've got drop-down lists, you've got repeater controls, you've got all these different things. And then so when I started learning more about .NET, real .NET, I started piecing things together. I'm like, hey, wait, that's where Kelly got that from. That's what that is.
Got it.
XMod Pro more or less became a bridge to the internal features of .NET and acted, like I say in the book, as a silent tutor, teaching me how to program, and I didn't even know it. So what I started doing was, it got to the point to where I use XMod Pro templates to replace the HTML module. And I just write code and drop it onto a page because it's just a control. And then like the latest project I did is I built a custom help desk for a customer, and it involves Stripe, e-commerce, Angular, Web API, and I use XMod Pro throughout it. Sometimes I use XMod Pro just to bootstrap the other technologies.
Yeah, just to hook them up together.
Yeah. Because again, it's quickly, instead of going in and creating an ASCX file and setting all that stuff up, I can just drop it on the page and implement the framework.
Let me stop there and let's step back for a second here, because we are just assuming that everybody knows what XMod Pro is. So for someone that is seeing the name XMod Pro for the first time, how would you describe that easily and in a very easy and understandable way? How do you describe XMod Pro? What is XMod Pro?
Okay. Basically, XMod Pro is twofold. It allows you to put data in a database, and it allows you to determine how to display that data that's in the database. So you can create forms, you can create views, and both of which can interact with the database. So to simplify it even more, you can build forms with it. You can build a directory with it. basically it's just a very adaptable, rapid development environment that lets you work with your data. It gives you complete control over your data.
Got it. But here I'm gonna challenge you on something, because when you were talking, at the beginning you said, yeah, I mean, we rely on third-party module developers, and they they go missing, they don't show up anymore. And of course, I'm not saying that Kelly will ever do that, but bottom line is that you are putting all eggs, from your basket on that product alone. I'm sure that if we go through your site, or discover XMod Pro, or your company's website, I'm sure that pretty much everything there is done with XMod. So you are betting the bank on XMod. So how do you reconcile that?
I've got that right in my agenda planner, because I just somehow knew you were going to ask me that.
Good, that's right.
That's one of the reasons why I said that if you remember, I go back, I said that it can get dangerous when you rely on multiple third-party vendors. Right? So now here's the difference with me personally, and Kelly, if you watch this, take no offense, but he could disappear off the face of the planet, and I've got a rescue plan for everything, because if you've worked with XMod Pro, you open it up. Again, it's just a bunch of controls. You've got your repeater controls. I can build everything that I built with XMod Pro, even if XMod Pro vanished. And, even if I couldn't upgrade or whatever the reason is, it's bare bones out of your way. What I mean by that is, it's not going to break when DNN upgrades a lot of things, because it is XMod Pro is a tool that allows you to work with the data that you develop and create, or existing data, or other modules. So it doesn't have the same friction that a lot of other modules do during upgrade process. Does that make sense?
It does. And here's, I'm challenging you, but at the same time, I am a big fan of XMod Pro. I have been using XMod Pro, not as much as you use. So again, I'm not to your level there. But I have been using since first time that I put together DNNHero.com. So I've been a big fan. Actually, on Ederson.com, that I just put that together 2 months ago, I just bought about a month ago XMod Pro to help me out with the blog, with some other features there. So again, I'm a huge fan. Actually, let me go one step beyond that. I actually tried to use first, and what's his name? I'm missing his name now. Daniel Metal. Daniel, I love 2sex content, but I've tried a little bit of 2sex content, and I said, you know what? Let me go back to XMod Pro, because I can do this better with XMod Pro, So I've tried a little bit 2sex content. I said, no, I'm not ready to jump into that. Let me go back to, to an environment that I guess I like more. And this was comparing, 2sex content, XMod Pro, or we could develop those things from scratch. And I said, you know what? The fastest way to go for us right now, is just to go with XMod Pro. So I am a big fan. Keep going, Patrick. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's great. Now, the thing that I love about it, and I'm getting interference from something. I hear like another conversation. I don't know if you guys hear that.
Joe, can you mute? Maybe behind Joe.
I can hear. Am I muted? No, I'm good.
I'm muted. I think that I muted Joe now. I don't know if it was him, but yes, I got him. I got someone muted here.
The one that I'm having trouble understanding.
No problem. Let's carry on.
To do with your accent.
Let's carry on, and I guess so. Let's carry on, and let's see how it goes. Keep going, Patrick.
All right. So one of the great things about it, why I'm so passionate about it, is the fact that it's not heavy-handed. It doesn't get in your way, and that actually is a hindrance to some people, because they want just 100% drag and drop, make it easy for me. But what I found is that drag and drop make it easy for me in every single way. Don't get me wrong; it's got a form wizard, it's got a template wizard, and those things are great. But those things get in your way after time, because you want to do more, and then the tools actually begin getting in your way. So what I love about it is it's just raw code that you can get into in the end. It's not a module interface that you've got settings and all these things. You can control everything. And whatever XMod Pro can't do out of the box, you can build a custom extension for, because again, it's, okay, let me give you an example. It's providing you an interface where you just drop controls on the page. Custom text box, custom drop downs, custom repeaters, custom whatever, custom form actions that, you know, fire off things to an API after form submission. I mean,
Got it.
there are no boundaries as long as you know, once you get to that point where you can develop your own custom software to tie into it. Yeah, it's just a wonderful thing. So
let's jump here a little bit now, straight to I'd say your publication or your book, your content. So we have discovery xmodpro.com, which is where, you know, what did you do there? I mean, tell us.
Okay, so one of the things that I've found lacking in the tutorial world, and it's not that it's a bad thing that it's lacking, it's just the way that it is a complete start to finish, complete guide to developing something. Now what I mean, I've gone through so many tutorials where it says at the end, by the way, this is not really ready for production. Hopefully this will get you started. Here's some other learning materials. And you find yourself in this cyclical pattern of never really figuring things out. So I wanted to take my years of obsession and banging my head against the desk and develop a guide that literally taught you how to build a web application from start to finish. So the big thing about this is learning by doing, right? So it's not just just little pieces here and there. We create a classifieds application because I thought, in the book, I thought, what kind of application can I come up with that covers lots of different features where people can incorporate those into their own projects? So the app that we build in the book, it teaches you how to build, lets people buy and sell, post ads for sale, upload images, follow people, automatic email notifications, scheduling controls, an administrative interface where you can manage how much money you're making off of it. We do PayPal integrations. And I include all kinds of custom software. We even get into writing custom extensions. I teach you how to write your own code to tie into XMod Pro. So again, it's something that I wanted to take a developer from absolute zero. I mean, we cover JavaScript. There's deep dives in JavaScript, on SQL, SQL Server, HTML. We even cover Bootstrap. So I did. I wanted to take all my pain and knowledge and turn it into an easily digestible, iron-tested course that would literally take someone to a place to where they can build anything that they want confidently.
Let me just, I just want to quickly mention, I'm getting some feedback here. Joe, I'm going to try to mute you. I don't know if it's you, but let me see. Yeah, I think it was you. Any case, just want to mention that one, it may not be you, Joe. I don't know what's going on. Maybe if you guys want to mute yourselves and then again you can come back. One little pet peeve that I have with tools like XMod, and again I love the tool, but my pet peeve is this: we get so specialized in that tool, we start to use a tool like that as the solution to any kind of problem that we may come across, you know, and we become a specialist in that tool. But sometimes I would question if that knowledge there is readily transferred to something else, you know. I mean that's what I have sometimes in the back of my head. No, I'm doing this here, I'm you know, doing as much as I can with this tool. How much further down the road can I really extend this tool? And am I becoming a specialist in a tool that, you know, it's not, the skills that I'm acquiring here are not very transferable. I mean, does that make sense to you? Am I talking BS? Patrick, tell me, put some light on my BS here.
Well, the only thing I could do is share my personal experience. So how it worked with me, again, is, and I don't want to say that I didn't know anything before XMod Pro. I did, but it didn't stop with XMod Pro, and that's the beauty of it. That XMod Pro is not the ceiling, right? So like I said, a lot of the recent projects I'm doing, you know, I'm using a lot of lot of frameworks. I'm using Web API. XMod Pro has just become, instead of it being the all-inclusive tool that I use,
got it.
It's now just one of the tools on my tool belt. But I have to admit, was the primary workforce that pushed me to the other tools. So, you know, give me an example. When I use XMod Pro, I wanted to do a redirect after a form submission. Okay. Well, now I know behind the scenes how that redirect works. I understand it. I don't need XMod Pro to build a redirect for me. So again, acting as a silent tutor, it did not remain my only go-to tool. And I can build modules, and I can do all that. But I'll be honest with you, it's hard when I can build things so quickly.
It becomes addictive. It becomes addictive, isn't it?
It is. Because I don't have to create a project for it. I don't have to set up the development environment for it. I don't have to, build the templates and get it going and create the installable, all those things. I mean, those things are great. I mean, I can build things so fast, and
I get it.
I'm sure you know.
I understand. And again, sorry we are going, almost in an interview mode kind of, so we are extending ourselves here. But I just want to quick mention about, I don't know if you guys recall or remember OWS, OWS used to be that tool that you could build a lot of stuff there. And I don't know where they are at this point in time, but that's one example of something that, hey, if I get deep here into this, my knowledge will be just around this tool, and now there's no support there anymore. And again, not saying that this will happen to XMod, it's just something that keeps in the back of my head. But as you said, you use XMod right now as a hub to many different things, and that's great. Guys, I didn't give you, Joe, Scott, a chance to ask anything to Patrick, so please feel free, drill him a little bit more, but we have to move on. So tell me guys, anything?
Oh, the thing that I like about XMod is it has outlived things like OWS. And do you remember Mushroom?
Mushroom, yes.
DNN Mushroom, which I thought was much better product than OWS. It never got any traction. So XMod has at least withstood the test of time.
Very true.
So yeah, and I will mention that I worked on a site the last couple of years that had some OWS stuff buried deep inside of it, and that was just a truly frightening thing because it's really a dead product at this point, as near as I can tell.
Last year, I mean, just on the. Go ahead. Sorry.
They kind of open sourced it. There's still a website. The guy who developed it and was the brains behind it is no longer there. So.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. We're gonna have Scott, if you want to mention anything from you, Scott.
No, I'll probably just be repeating what Joe said about OWS. Because I remember using it too.
By the way, last year we have done an upgrade on OWS.
Figured it out.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep moving forward here and see if we can squeeze in the next 10 minutes. I'm gonna just jump to a few blog posts that I have seen. A good blog post from that talks about Clint Patterson teaching DNN. It's done by Dennis from DNN Corp. Clint is teaching kids, high school kids, to use a CMS like DNN. So a very good post here. Also, our prolific friend Jeff Barlow, he came up with yet a new open source free. I'm not sure if it's open source or free. What's the right term here? But I guess open source, called DNN Contra, which is another theme based on Bootstrap 4. Great theme here, but here's what and this is just a demo of that site, and this, you can find it on DNNcontra.com. All the links will be listed in the video post. But here's what I found very interesting, and he sent me an email and he asked me to have a look, to give my 2 cents, and I did. He's coming up with something that he's calling the DNN Theme Editor. And what this is, in a nutshell, is just an editor that you can hook up your theme. You know, if you are a theme creator, theme developer, or if you are just tinkering with a theme, you can hook up your theme to this editor. And what it will allow you to do is it will allow you to change colors, to change fonts, to change font size, and not just colors, but there's some more here. You can create drop-down lists. So very interesting initiative from Jeff. It's not fully live yet, although you can go to DNNthemeeditor.com and you're gonna find a preview of that tool. He should be releasing this tool next week, which is the last week of March. So very, very interesting. I really like that, and it turns any theme into a very flexible theme. You know, that if a theme doesn't come with the pre-built-in admin control that some of the themes nowadays they come, you could definitely hook this up to your theme and have, you know, a much more flexible experience for your theme users. You know, very good one, very good one. And again, guys, I'm gonna keep blasting away. If you guys have any points to make, please interrupt me. Say hi, hey, I want to talk. Joe, you're unmuted, I think.
You're right. One of the fun things that Jeff has done is he has bundled in a bunch of open content templates.
Yes.
With the theme and style.
DNN Contra, yes.
To match the theme.
Got it. Very true. Very true.
Kind of skirted around open content, and it's also on my list of things to figure out one of these days. But it's XMod Pro-ish.
Yes, it's too sexy content-ish. Yes,
it's too sexy content-ish.
Yeah,
kind of somewhere in the middle, I think.
Very true, very true. Moving on here, more community blog posts, a bunch of blog posts from Chris Hammond with tips and tricks about DNN9, and again, very prolific again with his writing, how to find which modules are on a DNN, being used on a DNN website, a new template, a new development template for Visual Studio 2017. So check it out, a bunch of new blog posts from Chris Hammond. What else we have here?
Hey, Anderson, talking about Visual Studio 2017.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody's, that just came out. The VS2 2017 just came out like a couple weeks ago. And one thing I wanted to make note on that is I had an issue with this Persona Bar project that I've been working on. Hopefully that's going to come out soon as a demo or as a DNN Hero set. But one of the problems I had was in Visual Studio 2015 and the amount of work it takes to get a React Node project working, which is why at the conference, if you guys went and saw people like John Shealy and Peter Donker talking, they would always use VS Code for all the React development using Node and all that stuff, and then have to switch over to Visual Studio for maybe web API or module packaging. And I found a way forward with Visual Studio 2017 where you kind of combine that. You have the IntelliSense for the React stuff and the ability to run grunt scripts and all that stuff. So I have a way forward now, hopefully using one tool to develop a React extension.
Very good, very good. Very good. Okay, moving on here. Check out the latest Southern Fried DNN meeting, DNN user group meeting. There was 2 great talks. One, it was an interview with Dennis from DNN Corp. Dennis is the director of content marketing at DNN Corp, and I had the pleasure to talk to him in person. during DNN Summit. Great guy. I'm very interested on the type of work that he does, because I'm getting more and more involved with marketing, and that's one of the areas that I want to develop more and more. So great interview to get to know more about Dennis Chow. His last name, I'm gonna screw up, Dennis. Sorry about that.
Ciao.
Okay, Chow. Great. And the second part of the meeting was David Poindexter talking about the JWT authentication in DNN9 and using Ionic to show the information on a mobile device, and interacting with prompts via mobile device, using this. So it was a great mashup of different technologies, and using DNN behind the scenes, and using prompt as well. The prompt commands were made available on a mobile device via a native app using Ionic. So a very good presentation if you want to get your hands around mobile development, having DNN as a potential backend for your mobile application, and using JWT authentication with DNN. Very, very good and very detailed. And again, if you want to get started on that, it's a great start. What else we have here? DNN Connect is about to happen. Actually, we are just less than 2 months. Yeah, I'm just about exactly 2 months away from DNN Connect, which is the next DNN conference. And here's the page. The link will be there. I would love to talk, maybe bring one of the organizers for our next, meeting in the end of April. So I'll see if I can arrange that. That's about it. I want to finalize here, to bring to our finishing line. I usually like to ask, the group if there's anything new that they're working on, maybe a new project, maybe a new technology, maybe a new service, maybe a new site, whatever it is. If there's anything interesting that you guys have worked on or are working with or are getting to know in the last month, by all means, this is the time. Feel free to jump in. I have mine here. I'm just going to open. Scott, anything from you?
No, I just already mentioned it. Like I said, Visual Studio 2017 just came out, and I'm trying to get used to that and see that as a path forward for integrating React development with all the rest of the DNN stuff, module and Persona Bar stuff.
Joe, anything from your side? Anything interesting in the last month?
Yes, absolutely nothing to do with DNN. I've been playing with computers about that size, and if nobody has seen it, Google Raspberry Pi 0W. This is a stick of gum size processor, and my great success was getting it all configured. It basically runs Linux. But the Pi 0W, the big upgrade there is it has onboard Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. And so you can basically have this little stick of gum with just power attached. And from my real computer, I can RDP connect to it. And I've got it comes up with a full, X Windows GUI, like you were wired into a Linux computer. Not the fastest thing in the world, but it's not supposed to be, but it sure is fun.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Joe. Patrick, anything from you? Anything interesting last month?
Yeah, I don't have anything to point you to. I can say that this year, this last month, we're kind of redirecting or reinventing our business, and it's kind of just migrated and moved and gone where the wind has taken us. But I'm going to be diving into some React and some module development related stuff like that. And also, I guess got to go through some of your guys' new stuff on DNNhero.com I know Scott and you got some new videos out in module development. So yeah, again, it's not all XMod Pro. but I'm very interested in React in the direction that it's going in its popularity. So I'm going to be taking a big deep dive into that and seeing what I can integrate, maybe even create some extensions with it and see.
Perfect, perfect. Very good, very good. And for me, I'd say my tip of the month is something that it's interesting for me, at least, that I've been working lately, is with a site called clickfunnels.com. The link will be available. It's not techy. It's more marketing. I mean, I should be sending this, and I'm sure that he knows the site already. I should be sending this to Dennis. It's a very, very fast way that you can put up a landing page that you can drive, users and people through a series of of landing pages and a process that you walk people through, either to buy something that you're selling, but very easy, very drag drop type of stuff. I mean, you don't need to be messing around with HTML, which is, most of our audience here is very technical, but if you are more marketing oriented, this is definitely a tool to look for, to look at if you need to develop landing pages and create funnels, sales funnels for your clients, for yourself, for your company. Check it out, clickfunnels.com. It's not the cheapest one out there, but it's very, very, very worth the money that you have to pay to use the service. So that's my spiel. That's my 2 cents. Anybody else? Anything else? Crickets. Okay, that's good. Want to finalize with this. Last month, I have discussed with DNN Creative to bring, because here's the thing, what we have on DNN Hero is more admin and development related content, videos, training, tutorials. And what it's there, with DNN Creative, it's more content towards design, theme. So we don't compete too much with each other. And what end up happening is that now we will be distributing their content as well on DNNhero.com. And hopefully before the end of next month, you're gonna have the entire content of DNN Creative also available on DNNhero.com. Now that'll have some impact in pricing, but pricing will stay the same until the end of next month. However, after that, things will change a little bit. Anyway, I just wanted to announce that quickly. That's about it. Perfect. I'm done here. It's over an hour, but hey, what the hell, If
Patrick,
you don't,
Patrick's got something for you.
That's fine. If you don't want to watch this bloody thing till then, just don't watch. That's it, That's the reason why we do the summary, and you can see the time that Patrick was talking, that I was talking, that Joe was talking, that Scott was talking. If you don't want to stay to the end, that's fine too. For the hundreds of people that will be watching this, I'm just glad that we had a great conversation here. That's it. Thank you very much, guys. Talk to you in a month.
I was hang on.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I apologize. I do want to offer a discount. I missed that. Okay, so
Perfect.
Anybody who's watching this until April 15th, just send me an email, say, hey, watched it, and I'll give you 25% off of any edition of the book, or I've got some products on DNN Store as well, integrations for XMod Pro. I'll give you 25% off. I've never really done a discount like that, so I thought maybe I'll do that. But remember, don't rely on me. Learn how to build it yourself.
See,
okay? So I want to say that. So just send me an email. I'll find me at reflectmediagroup.com or discoverxmodpro.com.
Thank you very much, Patrick. That's great. That's great. That's the reason why you have to stick to the very end, because I'll save the best for last. That's it. Talk to you in a month. Bye. Hasta la vista.